Hi guys, in today's video we're going to be reviewing Vallejo Metal Colour acrylic airbrush paints. Now I get so many questions about metallic paints. What are the best metallic paints to use? Now there is some fantastic metallic airbrush paints on the market, guys. AK Interactive's Extreme Metals, Molotov's Liquid Chrome, Alclad's metallic range, all absolutely fantastic, but they're all sort of like lacquer based, or they're hot liquids. They're not acrylic. Now as regards to acrylic airbrush paints, they're all pretty rubbish, if I'm completely honest, apart from Vallejo's new metal colours. I say new, they're about a year old, guys, but they're still one of the newest acrylic airbrush paints on the market. Now these spray out the airbrush super smooth, they're very thin, and they give pretty much one coat coverage. They're that good. These are a complete night and day difference in quality compared to most metallics. I'll give you an example. Dark Stars metallics, I really like these for brush painting, but if you try and airbrush them, not a patch on these. Vallejo Game Air metallics, not a patch on these. Vallejo Model Air metallics, not a patch on these. In fact, I've tried Games Workshop metallics, Vallejo Game Colour, Model Colour, Model Air, Game Air, and many more metallics, Ammo of MIG, and all those acrylic metallics cannot compare to the quality of these Vallejo Metal Colour paints. Now they are about roughly £6 a pot, I believe, but you are getting 32mm of paint per pot, so it's not an extravagant price considering the amount of paint you get per bottle. What we're going to do, guys, is we're going to test copper, gold, gunmetal and jet exhaust on some miniatures. I'm going to show you how thin the metallic is in a little shot glass, and we're just going to show you how amazing these paints are. So basically, if you're struggling with spraying metallic paints, guys, and you don't want to use lacquer based paints or enamel based paints, these are the most awesome acrylic paints out there for airbrushing, I believe, and in metallics. But anyway, let's put it to the test and start spraying. First of all, guys, before we do some airbrushing, I'm just going to put some of the gold into this cup, and you can see how thin it is. It's as thin as milk. Now even the specific designed model color metallics and Model Air metallics and Game Air metallics aren't this thin and airbrush ready. As you can see, the pigments are ground super fine in the airbrush cup, and you can see how thin that liquid is. It is super thin, guys. So even out of relatively small needle nozzle sets, you shouldn't need to thin it. So what we're going to do now, we're just going to spray live on camera some of the paint onto these miniatures, and I'll just show you how amazing the coverage is of this paint. So what we'll do gold first of all, and I'll just place some in the airbrush cup. Now you don't need too much of this paint because it covers really well, and we'll just start spraying like so. And as you can see already, guys, super smooth coverage. Now I always recommend working over a black undercoat, or with gold you can use brown. And as you can see, guys, no clogging, no spluttering, no glittery effect from the metallic paints, just a lovely smooth coat of gold. Now I've painted these in matte black, guys. You'll get an even better, more reflective result if you actually place down a glossy black base as the undercoat before the metallics. But even using a matte finish black, you can still see the reflective properties of this paint is really good. And as I say, it goes down super thin, not obscuring any details at all. Absolutely love these airbrush paints. Right, we'll try the next colour. Okay guys, now we're trying copper. And copper would be a great base colour to start off custodes. And then you'd follow up with a gold as a highlight colour. But as you can see, the copper is going down just as smooth as the gold. What you'll find, because this metallic goes down so thin but with such high coverage, that you very hardly have to pull back on the airbrush trigger at all. If you do, what you'll find is the surface becomes very wet very quick because of the consistency of the paint. So spraying these, less is more. And that is the copper colour. Next we're going to spray the jet exhaust. And this covers even quicker than the gold and the copper, which is pretty amazing, to be honest, guys. As you can see, it's already covered in just a few sprays. There we go. And lastly, we'll try the gunmetal. And there we go. Okay, I've let the miniatures dry, and as you can see, they look absolutely wonderful, guys. The reflective properties on these metallics are absolutely fantastic. Now, one could argue that Alclad's might be a little bit better, and also AK Interactive's Extreme Metals, but neither of those paints are as simple and as straightforward to paint as these. These are literally beginner friendly, guys. You pour them straight into the airbrush, you spray them out at about 15 to 20 psi, and in seconds you can see you get this beautiful finish, and you won't have any clogs or issues with your airbrush that you do with normal acrylic metallics. Even when thinned, you can still have problems. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to wash the gold with some Agrax Earthshade gloss, just to show you that they take a wash really well also. I'll come back in a moment when this is all done and dried, guys. So I've placed down the wash all over the miniature and I've let it dry, and as you can see, even washes are pretty good over the top of these metallics. So the metal colour paints from Vallejo, highly recommended, guys. Now if any of you know of a better acrylic metallic airbrush colour, let me know in the comments field. Me personally, out of many I've tried, nothing comes close to these. They're that good, guys, and that's simple to use. So if you do want to get hold of these, I'll put a link in the description box down below to Goblin Gaming's web store, where you can pick from the wide selection they've got. I'm sure they've got the full range of the metal colour paints on their web store, and you can go and check those out, guys. But let me know if you use these metallic paints. Let others know what you think of them. Also, if you do struggle with metallic paints, tell me what metallic paints it is you struggle with. And thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.